Yeah, so it's going to be kind of interesting today because we're going to try to go through all the things that your child does in a week. But we're going to do it in like 30 minutes. So
That's all right. Well, mom.
Your mom. You can do it, right?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is usually what they will do on Monday, which is they cut out all the words, and then they, well, with them, they usually initial the back so they don't lose it.
Oh, okay.
And then they just sort it whatever way they want.
And how about the grass?
So, yeah, so this one would be,
Treat it as like a paper.
yeah, like stick,
okay.
that would be stick. And this one's a clip, kick, dice,
Okay.
knife.
Okay.
Yeah, so just pretend that's a word. So you can sort whatever way you want.
Stowers. Yeah, put in order now.
You can put it whatever way you want. So you can just sort it like things I like, things I don't like, things that, you know, start with T. All the things that start with T can be in one group. So you can make as many groups as you want to. You can, you know, have only 2 groups or 5 groups or 10 groups. Sorted by the ending letter, sorted by the beginning letter. Hi, Simon. You can find a seat wherever you want. Here? Yeah. You want to have some snacks? This is supposed to be very, like, relaxed. There's some fruit.
There's no apple.
Here.
He just likes to say apple.
Apple? Here, have some snacks. This is supposed to be fun, not like school, right? Here, have something.
Am I supposed to cut these?
Yeah, you're supposed to cut that out and sort it whatever way you want. So, here you go. You want to pick out something?
Okay. I'll get it.
Guava or
Okay. Thank you.
apple? Cookie? And actually the kids, they are really good at cutting words now because they have learned all the different techniques of how to cut quickly. So literally they can cut their words in like maybe 30 seconds. They cut it like this into strips and then and then they're all done. Do you see what I mean?
Yeah.
But they've gotten really, really fast at it. Okay, so what they're doing now is they're sorting the words in, it's called an open sort. So open sort means that you sort whatever way you want to sort it. So you can make categories or whatever you want.
You mean they will do this?
Yeah, they'll just line them up and then just put them all, yeah. And I said, oh, how did you know how to do that? Like, Miss Stowers, it saves time. Okay, so how did you sort your words? Like, what did you do to sort your words?
Well, I started out with the ending sound like nice, nice, nice.
Oh,
But
okay.
then like I still have trouble doing the like nice, 5, give, drive.
Uh-huh.
So that's what I try to do.
Oh, so like rhyming
Rhyming
words?
words,
Yeah,
yeah.
okay. How did you sort your words?
I don't know to sort by the first letter.
First letter? Yep. That's. How are you sorting your words? Oh, okay. Yeah, yeah. So like kind of like the pattern of the word kind of thing. Like ish, the H, kind of the ending. Interesting, yeah, and then all the pictures over here, that's...
And the picture words.
Yeah. So the cool thing about the open sort, and the open sort is something that they do, actually if you open your packet, if you look at this page over here, the sorting schedule, okay, what we're gonna, I told them, we're gonna try to go through all the sorts within like 30 minutes, but usually this takes the whole week for them to do. And the first sort is open sort because I think it just gets them looking at the words so that they look at the words and they're kind of thinking about what do these words mean. And I think it's kind of neat because then they can sort it their own way, you know what I mean? And there is, with open sort, there's no like right or wrong, right? And so the cool thing is that they can make their own kind of decision about where to put words. And it's kind of interesting because the more we do word sorting, I notice that the kids will start to, they know right away what the closed sort will be, and the closed sort means the way that I'm sorting it. Like I teach them a way of sorting, right? And then by the end of the year, they'll just say, this is it. And it's like, oh, try another way, you know, because the more they think about how the word patterns work, I think it's better kind of for their brain. Okay, so word sort, okay. So the next thing, actually, if you look at the first sheet, this is kind of the order of the different things that we're going to do today. So we finished open sort, you pull up a check mark there. Then the second thing is, what is word sorting and how does word sorting benefit my child, okay? So I kind of made a little video for you guys to watch, and it's just a quick video, and then hopefully they'll answer those two questions. And then after the video, we'll go on to the next one.
I'm sure you're asking yourself, what is word sorting, and how does word sorting make my child a better speller? Well, we know that the English language is full of spelling patterns. For example, words can have long and short vowel sounds. The word mad has a short A because it follows a CVC, or consonant vowel consonant pattern, whereas the word made has a long A because it follows a CVCE, or consonant vowel consonant silent E pattern. By sorting words, students will be able to see patterns and hopefully be able to spell even more words than the ones that were taught in that lesson. Sometimes words don't follow the pattern, and we list those as oddball words. For example, the word what would be oddball, since it seems to follow the CVC pattern, but it has a short U sound instead of a short A sound. Talking about the oddballs is an important part of word sorting because it helps students know that there are exceptions to every rule. In a nutshell, word sorting is a way for students to learn about spelling patterns. Learning the spelling patterns will help your child become a better speller because they aren't just memorizing a list of spelling words, they're learning the patterns of spelling, which should help them be able to spell any word they come across with the same pattern.
My short video for you. But did you kind of understand? I know I went pretty quickly, but basically at first when the Morrison said we were going to start using this method of spelling, I kind of said, what is this? I've never heard of this before, because in the past it's always you give them 10 words or 20 words and then they study those words, right? And then on Friday there's a spelling test, right? That's how we do it. I don't know how you guys learned spelling in English, but that's pretty much how, we've been doing it forever, right? But then the thing is, over time, after doing this type of spelling, I started to realize this actually works. Because the neat thing about it is you're teaching them not the words. That's not the point. The point is the pattern, right? And when you teach the kids the pattern, they're able to spell words that you haven't even taught. They will see a word and they'll say, oh, I know, that's a CVCE pattern. So, you know, or this word sounds like this, so I bet it's spelled this way, right? And so the neat thing about word sorting is that when we teach about the pattern of words, then they're able to spell like way more words than just that list. Yeah. So I think that it's very, very beneficial to kids. Okay, so next, number 3. What is in the word work folder? Okay, so come on in. You can have a seat anywhere. So the word work folder is something that you'll probably see come home every day. I tell students to bring it home every day. We actually do spelling words every single week except for shortened weeks because there's not enough time, right? Like this week, because we have Thursday half day, so there's not enough time to do the entire thing. So on half days we don't do it, or yeah. But usually they will have something to do with word work every single week, and you'll see a folder like this. And then in the folder, there's going to be 3 things. This, which is how to do each of the sorts. Actually, for most of the kids, and it's in your packet too, but for the kids, I think most of the sorts are already memorized, but this is just helpful just in case they forget. And then there's their notebook, so they have a notebook. And then the last thing is a little packet with their headers and all the little words. So have you guys seen this at home? Okay, so those 3 things are always in their word work folder, and this should go home pretty much every night and then come back to school again during the day because we have things that we have to do with the word work folder during the day.
Do they sometimes just do it at school?
They still need to bring it home because there's always something to do at home, right? So like if you look over here on that page with the thing, okay, so on Monday they cut out the words in school, but at home they should be doing an open sort. They should be, right? And then on Tuesday, they do a writing sort, but at home, they're supposed to do a closed sort. On Wednesday, memory sort 1, blind sort, and then at home, illustration sort. And then Thursday, they do memory sort 2, speed sort in class, and then at home, speed sort. So there's always something to do at home. And sometimes, this is why this Parent Connect is really good, because sometimes they'll say, I already did it at school. And then you can say, no, you still have to do your closed sort, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And then you know, right? Okay, so let's move on. Okay, so we already did the open sort, and next one is the writing sort. Do you see number 4? Okay, so for the writing sort, the first thing I do is, this will be on, you can see right here. So let's pretend Monday is done, and we already did our open sort, and then so now it's Tuesday in school, and I'll say, all right, boys and girls, how did you sort your words last night? And then they'll say what you just told me. I sorted with the ending sounds, I sorted with the beginning sounds, you know, that kind of thing. And then after that, I'll say, okay, let me show you how we're going to sort them today. And I'll say, okay, we're going to sort them short. Okay, so I made a really big one here. Usually we use that smaller one there, but since I thought you guys don't want to sit on the carpet, I would just do this. So we're going to do short I, like pig, like it, short I, pig. We're going to do a long I, like kite, I, kite. And we're going to do oddball. And oddballs are things that just don't fit the pattern, kind of like the video before, right? And so with pig, it's a short I sound, so it's like eh. And then long I, all the long vowels sound like the letter, like long A is A, long O is O, long I is I. Okay, so I say, now I'm going to ask you where you think these words go, okay? 9. Where do you think 9 goes?
Long I.
Long I, good. And then give, where do you think give?
Short.
Short I, give. Oh, actually, you know what, we'll save this one for later. How about dice?
Dice. Long
Dice.
I.
Long I, dice. How about nice?
Nice is the same. Long
Long
I.
I. Okay, this is what I'm going to do now, just to make it a little faster and more fun. I'm going to give you guys some, and you just come up here and put it into whatever category, okay? So there you go. Make it kind of fun. See, this is supposed to be hands-on, right? Everyone has to do something. Oh, that was so fast. You guys are so smart. Okay. You guys have such smart kids. Okay, so let's read the words together. This is the short I. Okay, so dish, spill, stick, gift, thin, swim, flip, rich, clip, kick. Do Do you guys hear the sounds?
Yeah.
Right? So are any of these words wrong? Should we put them somewhere else, or do you think they're right?
I think they are right.
They're right? Okay. Let's try the next column, okay? So we have the long I, kite, okay? So 9 dice, nice, while, 5, drive, hike, prize, knife, and mice. Good. Do you think they all belong there? Now here's a question. Give. I noticed that someone put it over here in oddball.
Yeah.
Why is give oddball?
Because it's the I pattern, but it's short.
Yeah, you're right. It's a vowel, consonant, silent E, right? So it should be like guide, but we don't say guide. We're like, yeah, will you guide me an apple? No, will you give me an apple? So it sounds like a short I, so it's an oddball. Okay, so we kind of talk about that, and I think that just like the video said, talking about the oddball is super important because then it helps students to know that sometimes the pattern doesn't work out, and it shows the students they'll know give is an oddball word. Give is the one that we have to kind of watch out for. Okay. So then, after we do this, then we do the writing sort. And writing sort just means that they write it down, what they have up here. So, here you go. Here's your little... So go ahead and write down the words. There you go. And I kind of set it up for you, but they know to do this. And here, I can show you a student's writing sort here. This is how their notebooks look. Can you kind of see it? So then they do the things on top and then they write down.
I saw sometimes they draw pictures.
That's the illustration sort. That is on Wednesday.
Okay.
We're still on Tuesday. Okay, so you can go ahead. Wherever you want. They're the same. This is actually the same as that. And of course, you know, I could just give them the list, but I think the writing it down and seeing the lists themselves, I think that's very helpful too, just for the memory of it. Okay, so usually this is Tuesday, we're still on Tuesday. I would give them, after we go over this, and obviously we would start to talk about, you know, what do these words mean? And, you know, can you use this in a sentence, or, you know, that kind of thing, like, which words do you not understand? So we talk about that. But then after all of that is done, I give them the headers, and then they can do the close sort. So after they finish the writing sort, what they are supposed to do on Tuesday is close sort. And close sort basically means that they are sorting now, not in their own way, but now they try to put them together, and then they try to sort without looking my way. Do you see what I mean? So what I have them do is they'll just like look at this and then, you know, put it clip, there, stick, here, nice, here, like that kind of thing. And then I tell them after they're done putting them all down, then they can look at the list, they can look at this and they can check to see if it's right or wrong. Do you see what I mean? Okay, so that is the closed sort. All right, now let's look at number 6, memory sort. Okay, so I think memory sort is really, really fun because I read an article before that says that when you are able to memorize something, the reason why you can memorize it is because you're searching for it in your brain like over and over again, right? So if you don't like take the time to search for something, then it's not going to be put into your long-term memory. It will just kind of stay in short-term memory. Like, for example, when we were doing the copying down of the writing sort, that's very short-term memory, right? That's not really accessing that, okay? So with memory sort, I want you to try this out now. This is going to be a little bit of a challenge, okay? I want you to turn the page to this one, memory sort number 1, okay? And what I'm going to do now is I'm going to take this down. Okay? And I want you to really be honest and like put your words away. Put the words away. Okay, and try to remember the list based on what we said. Oh. And here's the thing, okay? If you can only remember 1 or 2, that's okay. Because I always tell them, well, we actually do 2 memory sorts. We do one on Wednesday and one on Thursday. And I don't say that the important thing is how many you get. The important thing is what the difference is between the 2. So if on the first day you only get 1, but on the second day you get 10, well, that's 9 more. So that's really, really good, okay? So try your best. Yeah, from the list. And don't worry, no one's going to look at your answers. I'm not even going to look at it, okay? So don't be nervous, because I think this is exactly the kind of activity that would make me feel really nervous.
Now I can tell that I only remember the pictures.
Yeah, the pictures. See, the pictures helped, right? And I always tell the students, just close your eyes and imagine how, like, what we talked about and that kind of thing. But, okay. And whenever you're done, then just draw a line underneath that list. Alright, so for the first memory sort, I usually only give them like 1 or 2 minutes, because by then they can't remember anymore and they're just closing their eyes and they're trying to search, but there's nothing left to search for, right? So usually about a minute or 2 into it, we'll just say stop. And then what I do is, okay, so here's an example of a memory sort. And what I tell them to do is they have to check, they use their writing sort to check to see if they got the word right or wrong, right? And then they have to do a line. Do you see this line here? That means that this student only remembered these words, right? And then they have to write down the rest of the list. And I tell them that now you know which words you forgot. Now you know which words you really need to kind of work on, right? So then that's what they do. But you don't need to do that right now, okay? Because we have no time. There's too many to write down. Yeah. So anyway, this basically, I think it helps because it focuses them. It shows them where they need to focus in. Okay, next one, blind sort. Okay, so you're probably thinking to yourself, okay, so we're on number 7 now. You're probably thinking to yourself, wow, this is super easy because they can just look at these words right here, right? And whichever one has the, let's see, vowel consonant E, obviously they're going to know it's this kite because it says kite right here, right? This is so easy, right? Well, it's time for the blind sort, okay? And then so what we do, and this is, the blind sort is on which day? Let's see. Blind sort, we're now on Wednesday, right? So we just finished our memory sort number 1. And during the blind sort, I have them pair up into groups of 2. And then I say to them that they have to, okay, so they put the headers up like this. And then one person has to hold the words, and then they have to say the word. But you can't see it. That's why it's called blind sort. So I say like, spill. Okay, so here, you can do it to me. So you say the word.
I say the word.
Yeah, say the word. Spill. Okay, so I would say, I think, oh, short I. And then you put it down, okay? And then, mice. Okay, long I. And then you put it down. Okay, so, and if they get it wrong, okay, so say another one. Hike. Okay, I say short I, okay? And then you put it down. Usually what you do is you put it down, and then maybe this person will say, oh, it's not supposed to be short I. Do you see what I mean? Because they can see it now.
Yeah.
And they say, please move it to the the long I, and then you can move it. So the person who's reading it doesn't tell them right or wrong. They just put it down. Do you know what I mean? And then the person who is doing the test, then they can see it. Once it's down, they should know. And if not, let's pretend it's all down, okay? It's all down here. Then they have to take their notebook, and then they go to their writing sort, and then they have to compare and see if they got it right. And if they got something wrong, then they can move it to the right place. And then after that, so you tested me, then I have to test you. Okay? So why don't you guys try that with someone? So pair off. You two and you two. Yeah, we have perfect here. So do that for a little bit.
And then you, if it's not correct, you need.
Oh, okay. Oh, okay.
Kick. Nine. Sure. Nine.
No, nine.
Sure.
Long. Right. Short. Five. Right. Short. Five. Long. Yeah. Mice.
Sure. And apple.
Spear. Sure.
Long.
Fries.
Fries.
Nice.
Long.
Nice. High long eye.
Long. Thin. Short.
Try.
Short. Thick.
Click. Dry. Dry. Dries.
Long. Kick.
Kick.
Okay, your turn.
Good job. Did you check? Did you check with the thing?
100%.
100%. Yay! That's awesome. Okay. Try again. So fast.
Right.
Okay.
Six.
Sweet.
Short.
Rich.
Nice. Nice.
And then check.
Check. Yes. Check with the writing sort.
Nice. Drive.
Okay, we can stop for now, okay? So that is the blind sort game, and this is actually, if you want to play with your student at home, I think now you know how to do it. So you can say, hey, want to do a blind sort with me? You know, and do it. Okay, so then usually pairs will do blind sorts with each other. So you test her, she tests you. But then some pairs, they're really fast, right? Like some here, like they're really fast. And then they're done first. So then what do? They play something called a spelling game. And so with the spelling game, what you do is you take all the words and you put them upside down. And then what happens is, now you grab one and read it to her.
I'm supposed to spell.
Yeah, now you spell it.
Nice. Nice.
Okay, and if she gets it, then she gets to keep that piece.
Oh, okay.
Now it's your turn, and you pick one up. And then, okay, go ahead, pick it up. There you go. Okay. Okay, so the thing is, do you see how the blind sort is more of a sorting one, and then the spelling game is more of a spelling one, okay? And then at the end, I just say you have to count up your pieces, and whoever has the most wins, that kind of thing. But it's kind of a really fun game, so that's another game that you can play with your child. So, oh, let's just play the spelling game, you know, so you can do that. Okay, let's move on. Here we go. Illustration sort. Okay, so now we're on Wednesday. Okay, so the memory sort number 1 and the blind sort, that was all Wednesday during the day. Now it's nighttime at home. They have to do illustration sort. And illustration sort, they don't have to do all the words because that's way too many, but they choose 5 from each category, and then they just draw a picture. And you would not, because remember how you said that the ones that had pictures you just remembered?
Yeah.
So this helps them remember it so much, like the words, right? So they just choose 5. They don't need to do all of them. 5 from each category, and obviously, you know, the oddballs, usually there's not 5, so they just do how many ever they can. And then after that, memory sort number 2. Now, I was going to do it with you guys, but I don't think we have any time anymore. But after doing all those activities, like the blind sort and the spelling game, and then the illustration sort, usually it's very rare that during memory sort number 2, they don't get a better score. So this is actually the same student, and before they got 11 out of 20, and now it's 20 out of 20. Actually, it's a different list, but you'll always usually see improvement with memory sort number 2. And I'm guessing, like, I would guess like 99% of you guys, or 100% of you guys would get a few more words right if we did memory sort again, right? Because now a few more words are like in your brain, right? All right, and then number 11, speed sort. Okay, so with speed sort, it basically means, this is something that they're doing at home too. They have to do the closed sort, so the way that I taught them, just by themselves, and they use a timer, and they time themselves and see how fast they can do it. Yeah, so have you seen some of your kids do that? And then they,
for the watch.
yeah, ask you for the one. And then they can write down, so like, you know, and then you can write down how many you got right and how many seconds it took you, and if you could see this child kind of improved, so that's good. All right, next. Number 12, we're on to grading, okay? So now, here's my question for you, okay? Okay, first of all, not all the students are doing the same word sorts, okay? Because if you look at this packet, there's different, right here, these are all the different kinds of sorts, right? And the thing is, you can't really teach a sort unless they really know everything above it. Do you see what I mean? And so some students may be over here, and other students may be over here, and some students may be over here. And so we have different groups of spelling and groups, and then they actually learn different patterns, okay? So if we have different groups learning different patterns, how do you think we can grade this? Because let's just say a student is learning like cat and mat, another student is learning like principal, and then they both get 100% on their test. Would it be fair to give them both 100%, 100%? Are they really at the same spelling level? No, right? So this is how we do it. Before the quarter starts, I test them all, and then I determine what level, what spelling level they are, right? Like what patterns they understand. Then I group them into groups, and then they do, like, they learn that, I guess, those patterns, right? And then at the end of the quarter, we test them again, okay? And at the end of the quarter, look at the last page. On the last page, you can see where they're supposed to be, okay? So, like, for example, in 3rd grade, at the first quarter, they should be unit 6 or 7 of within word spelling patterns, okay? So if they are there, then they would get a P. If they are beyond that, then they would get an E, and if they're below that, they would get a B. Basically, that's how it works. And so even though maybe the words that they were working on all through the quarter are a low one, if on the second test, they're able to show me that they understand more of those spelling patterns, then they can actually get a P or an E, right? And then the next quarter, I change the groups again. And so students will always be learning something that they need to learn, or they're learning patterns that they don't know yet. So that's how it kind of works. Do you guys have any questions about the grading? And actually, that was a huge question I had when we switched to this method. I said, that doesn't make any sense. If everyone's doing their own spelling words, how do you grade them? But then after learning all this, I feel like it's pretty fair, you know, because they're saying 3rd grade, you should probably spell at this level. 4th grade, you should spell at this level. And actually, this is a program that we use from 2nd grade all the way to 5th grade. So now you know how they grade. So do you guys have any questions about the grading? And that's why, if you guys have been looking on Power School, the spelling tests are all kind of grayed out. That means that they don't count. So what the teacher does is they use the spelling tests, and so I think about it, and I think about that second test that they take, and I use those two things as information for their final spelling grade. Does that kind of make sense? So if they continue, let's just say a student was, let's just say they were doing syllables and affixes. So that's like probably fourth quarter of third grade, right? But they keep on failing and failing and failing all the spelling tests. And then they take the post-test, okay, another spelling test at the end of first quarter, and they show that they're within word pattern speller, then I'd probably say, okay, then they're probably a within word pattern speller. Even though they were in that spelling group, they were in that higher spelling group, but they clearly did not understand it. And then for second quarter, they'd have to probably move down to that level. So basically, it's just the students learn the spelling patterns that are, like, that they will understand. You know, they're at a level where they can get it and they can move on. Because, I mean, I think with English language too and spelling, if you don't understand the foundations, it's really hard to build up on top of that, you know? Like, if you don't have the basics of, you know, short I, long I, you know, then you're not able to spell even harder words. Yeah. Yeah, but I really like this chart here because it really shows the progression, right? So, like, in grade 1, initial consonants would be like, right? But you know, by third grade, you should definitely know what initial consonants are. And then you can see how the spelling patterns get harder and harder until you're over here in 5th grade, and they're doing like Greek and Latin word studies. So that's definitely different, like tetra and quad and things like that, right? So it's really neat. All right. If there are no questions about the grading, then we'll do the final thing, which is, oh yes, what can I do to help my child? So you can ask them how they sorted their words. Don't ask them on Monday because they won't know. Monday is open sort, right? So I don't know. But actually on Monday you could. You could say, so what's your open sort? What did you do? You know, how did you decide this? You know, on Tuesday through Friday you can ask them what their closed sort is. You could do a blind sort with them. You could do a speed sort. You could do the spelling game with them. And see, this is kind of a fun one. This is kind of deeper thinking too. Help students to think of other words that fit in the category but are not on the list. Okay? So like for example, our list, can you think of another word that could fit into this list but is not on this list? Like this one here. So something that has a quite, Q-U-I-T-E. Quite would, yeah, that would fit. See, quite is something, and you'd say, hey, how would you spell the word quite? And they would think about it like, maybe Q-U-I-T-E? Oh, you're right. So, like, I think that is also a fun thing to do. Like, what words would fit into this, but it's not on the list? You know, just kind of helps stretch their thinking, too. They can also look in books and try to find words that match the pattern. That would be really easy, too. Okay. So that's it. We got through it all. This is a whole week. In 30 minutes. So do you guys have any questions or things that you're like, oh, I still don't really understand this part? Or on Friday, I only test them on 10 of the words. Because the thing is, it doesn't really matter. I mean, as long as they know the pattern, they don't need to know.
I'll just share that it was fun to see Aaron too. He has to come up with some idea to illustrate the abstract idea.
Yeah,
like,
they really like think like, oh, how would I draw that?
Then he would draw a bigger, you know, people.
Yeah.
Small
Yeah.
people. And,
Oh yeah.
yeah. The arrows say, yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
A bigger one.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's interesting.
Yeah. I think it's fun because this kind of it's very hands-on, and I think like this class too, they love things that they can touch, and you know, that kind of. It's not just memorize these words, just memorize them. You know, there's a lot of activities, and we kind of with this chart, the thing is like they know every day what they need to do, so it's very consistent too. So, yeah. Well, that's it. So thank you so much for coming. Are there any other things that you want to know about the school? Because I'm planning on doing more, you know, like parent seminars. Like, I don't know, not like every week, but like once in a while, like teach something so that it can help you guys. So are there things that you can think of right now? I have some ideas of things I want to do, but I just want to like feedback.
Will you have a workshop about math?
Math?
Yeah, I really want to know what's going on and what will be the next subject of the math that he will learn.
Okay, interesting. I was actually wondering if you guys wanted, because actually the math right now is a new math curriculum, and we actually have someone who, Jenny, you know Jenny, she's Griffin, right? She's actually the one who is kind of, she was on the math task force, right? So, and she's supposed to be helping all of us with this new curriculum. So I was wondering maybe she could come in and teach not just our class, but like maybe all grades, elementary grades, something about the new math, because it's a little bit different from the old math, a little bit, right? Yeah, so but that's, thank you, that's a good idea. Any other things that you guys can think of?
So is it like strictly academic?
It could be other things. Like what kind of things are you thinking? What are non-academic things? How to cook? No, just kidding.
How to cook?
No, just kidding. You need to teach me how to do that. That is very interesting though. Like what would be a non-academic thing that could be like useful, you know, to parents?
Like, I don't know, perhaps like the kids can do, I don't know, it depends, it varies around the household, I guess. Like some people might want to like let them become more independent.
Oh, like how to make your child more independent, or how much should I help my child with their homework? That kind of thing.
Or like study.
Right.
Are you talking about this?
Or like ideas of how to, to maybe discipline at home, like like ideas, different ideas and things like that.
But I find after he be the third grade, he become more
Self-motivated.
he's more better than before. He can go home himself. He won't do his homework, and then he folder organize.
Yeah, that's good.
Thank you,
good.
teacher.
I think that second grade to third grade is a huge transition for a lot of kids too, because in first, second, or kindergarten, and then first grade and second grade, I mean, they're still very young. But by the time they get to third, fourth, and fifth, I mean, it becomes really like academic, and so they are starting to learn how to be a little bit more organized. So,
Like time management.
Time management, very important. I always say, like, in third grade, we're just really learning how to get our homework done and bring it to school every day, because in fourth grade, it's just going to be more homework, and you know, with older kids, right? Like, lots of homework in the middle school and in high school. So, right now, it's a good time to get those habits down before it's too late.
I was just asking, Aaron complained that teacher was really strict because once he only forgot to finish one question, one math question, and he got this pink slip.
That's it, pink slip, that's it. Boom, pink slip. And email home.
That was nice to us. To mom, that's extremely nice.
All right, well, thank you for coming, and feel free to get some more food. There's so much left over. I can't eat all of this.